Ms. Leavitt, do you believe Donald Trump is telling the truth when he says the 2020 election was stolen from him? Yes or no?
I've been very clear on my position as you know, Adam, on this issue. I believe there were irregularities in the 2020 election. I talk to voters every single day who feel the same. And I'll continue to stand for election integrity efforts at the state and local level to ensure that every citizen in this state is voting once on election day. Now, this question is never asked of my opponent. And it's never asked of him where he stands on election integrity, because the truth is he supports a federal takeover of our election system. Speaker Pelosi, it was the first bill she introduced in the new Congress 2 years ago, H.R. 1. It's a radical federal steal of our elections in New Hampshire. It would threaten our first-in-the-nation primary status. It would outlaw the use of voter ID in every single state across this country, and it would give less power to our wonderful state legislatures in Concord. Again, I want to stand for election integrity and ensure those efforts are made at the state and local level.
To the question, though, Ms. Leavitt, do you believe former President Trump is telling the truth when he says that the election was stolen from him in 2020? Yes or no?
I believe voters every single day when they express their concerns over election integrity. I have voters in this district who tell me, I want to vote for you, but I'm not sure it will count. It will count. We need to flood the polls on Tuesday and continue to fight for election integrity at the state and local level.
Same question to you, Mr. Pappas.
Well, I think that's a simple no. Donald Trump is wrong. The last election was not stolen from him. Everyone knows that. And Karoline Leavitt continues to double down on the big lie that somehow this last election was stolen. I think it's really concerning to so many folks in New Hampshire that we've got a candidate running for office on the big lie who said on January 6th that she would have actually voted to decertify the election results, overturning the result of a Democratic election in this country. She actually said that she was proud to have, quote, held the line on January 6th by working for a member of Congress who voted to overturn the election results that night. That is just chilling. We know the folks that were holding the line that day. It was the members of the Capitol Police, 5 of whom lost their lives as a result of the insurrection at the Capitol because of the big lie, and you continue to tell it in your campaign, and that's just shameful.
Ms. Leavitt, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the inconvenient truth for Congressman Pappas is Donald Trump is not on the ballot this November. You are, and Joe Biden is. Joe Biden's been president over the last 2 years, and look what he's done to the people of this state. Skyrocketing inflation, skyrocketing energy costs, forcing, again, people to choose between heating their homes or feeding their families. We had a baby formula shortage in this country. We had a botched withdrawal from Afghanistan that left 13 service members dead. This president is failing our country, and you voted with him 100% of the time.
Congressman Pappas, question to you on elections here.
Can I just respond to that really quick? Because Joe Biden isn't in Congress, and I stand up to him on a regular basis when he's wrong for New Hampshire. I stood up to him on the IRS. I stood up to him when he wanted vaccine mandates for private companies in New Hampshire. I stood up to him on immigration. I stood up to him when he wanted to keep the Canadian border closed. But the fact is, Karoline Leavitt can't name one thing that she disagrees with Donald Trump on. And she's willing to throw our democracy under the bus just to do what Donald Trump wants. And that's wrong.
Our democracy is under the bus right now, and you sided with Joe Biden on the IRS when you voted for 87,000 new IRS agents to come after our small business community.
That's
our profit margins are minimizing every single day. I talk to business owners who don't know if they'll be able to make it through the winter because of the rise in electric rates, keeping their lights on in their manufacturing facilities and their businesses. And now you want to launch 87,000 new IRS agents. Guess what? I will fire those IRS agents on day one in Congress, and I will vote for 87,000 new United States Border Patrol agents to secure the mess that you've created.
I guess if you've told the big lie, then you can tell small lies too, because the fact is that the 87,000 figure has been totally debunked. We're talking about investing in the IRS so that we can provide better customer service to folks here in New Hampshire and go after billionaires and big corporations that are skirting the law. I don't want folks in New Hampshire having payroll taxes deducted week after week after week and having some millionaire out there with an army of accountants and lawyers skirting the law and not paying their fair share. That's just wrong.
There you have it. My opponent supports the IRS. He supports the hiring of more IRS agents. He supports raising your taxes. I support firing IRS agents, and I support lowering your taxes.
It's not going to raise your taxes.
I've signed a pledge to lower taxes for every single person.
Let's be very clear in that legislation.
I want to refocus on another election question.
A year is going to see their taxes
Congressman,
go up.
is a greater federal role in elections, which has been the subject of debate regarding legislation such as the the For the People Act. Is it a danger to New Hampshire's electoral system?
Well, it's not a danger to our primary. That's a fallacy that she's been pushing. The fact is we do many things very well here in New Hampshire when it comes to our elections. I think of the thousands of volunteers who work so hard to pull off our elections every year. They do a great job. Unfortunately, Karoline not only has doubled down on the big lie, but she's sowed a lack of she's played games with the elections here in New Hampshire and has attacked our results here in the Granite State. That's just wrong. What I want to do is take our system of paper ballots where the results can be audited, of same-day registration, and take that and make sure that we're doing this all across the country to help secure our democracy. We should be making it easier and not harder to vote in this country. We should be taking on the power of corporate special interest money, which is what that legislation does. Now, I don't take a dime of corporate PAC money in my campaign, unlike Karoline Leavitt. She also takes money beyond the legal limit in her campaign, too, which is another story. But what we should be doing is creating a level playing field where we truly have a democracy that's of, by, and for the people in this country. We do it well here in New Hampshire.
You can respond, Ms. Leavitt, but also, do you think a greater federal role in elections is a threat to New Hampshire's election system?
Of course it is. I don't want to see Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden dictating how we do business here in New Hampshire. Our Constitution's pretty clear. The time, place, and manner of our elections should be determined by those closest to the people. That's our state representatives in Concord, and he just laid out his plan for you. He wants the United States Congress and power-hungry bureaucrats in D.C. to dictate our New Hampshire elections. And it is a fact that the Democrats have fumbled the ball on the first-in-the-nation primary. We may lose that here in New Hampshire. Can you imagine? I went to St. Anselm College. This is my alma mater. The reason I'm standing on this stage, one of them, is because of our first-in-the-nation primary and for getting involved at this very place. And I want to protect that for young people in our state and for our economy. The fairest in the nation is everything, and you have not stood up for that at all.
Well, that's not true, and I'll continue to reach out to members of the Democratic National Committee who are going to determine this. But what we should do this year is what we've done every year in New Hampshire. Republicans and Democrats should work together to strengthen our primary and defend it. We've got the best thing going. We've had a state primary longer than anyone else in this country, and we add value to the process in terms of bringing candidates into our living rooms, into our workplaces, and we need to continue to make the case, but I'm confident we will. And by the way, we still have a state law that says we're going to go first, so people here in New Hampshire are going to go first in 2024.